Well, hello and welcome again, everybody. Jake here with you for another edition of Demko Modelworks. This will be part 3 of our 350 TOS build up here for my client. And so what we see here in front of us is I've pretty much gotten the starboard side of the secondary hull all together, all wired up. I did this off camera. Just to kind of figure out where I'm wanting certain things to go. You know, if you remember last time I showed you we were doing the first video, we did the neck, getting it all wired in and everything, and now we have it mounted to our secondary hull, and then we have all of our the pylons run, and then we have all of our wiring run up through the pylon and up to the front, now top of the pylon. Now this one here, we're not going to be using the motorless. My client wanted the motor, so we had to run two separate wires, two separate sets of power wires, and then we have what they call the momentary switch wire. Now this particular board is a newer one from Ralph at Tenna Controls, and if you've noticed on the older ones, when you start up the kit, I know on my very first one I did with Ralph's, the Bussard fans, especially the lights on the Bussard boards, they started out going real fast, and then you had to push the momentary switch to get them down. Well, this one, with this particular board, the lights are going to stay rotating the same speed all the way through, and the momentary switch controls the fan speed. So we had to go through up here and make sure we got all the the wiring up here. Now I don't know if we're going to be using all of that wiring. If not, we can just pull it back through and go from there. But you can see we have in place here, we have all of our interior lighting done. And then we have here at the rear, I don't know, let me zoom in here and show you. But right here we have our light for lighting up these windows right here on the side. Then we have our ion pod light there. It's an 0805 SMD. And what we'll do is we'll go back through, and while we're painting, we'll put a mask down on top of that. And then here we have, you can see we have one showing through the very back for that that tail piece right here. So today we're going to go through and do the other side. I'm going to do that with you on camera. So let me move this out of the way. And you can see here we have the same thing. Let me back out here. Whoops. So here we have the same thing. And so what I'm going to do real quick is back here in the back, this window at the very back here is a green green window. I'll get a toothpick and it'll come out cleaner. Now keep in mind, guys, that this is just this paint on here is just craft acrylic paint, so it'll be good if you have to scrape off something or what. But see, we have a clean window there right now. So off camera, I went on ahead to keep things from being too boring here and speed things along. I went on ahead and pre-wired my LED light strip tape. And so if you can remember, we're going to put one right in here, and then we're going to put another one here. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the back one. I'm going to peel this tape off here. And again, I'm using warm white LED strip tape here to light the interior of this. I'm going to Mount it just right behind, in between here. And again, I went on ahead and pre-wired, soldered both ends, and then I stuck my wire on one end and I kept the other one because we'll have to add the SMD lighting through here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tack this down, at least on this side. And guys, if this is the first time you've seen this video, or if it's the second or third time, always remember when you do this, if you however you put it down, this LED strip tape is not going to last forever in here by itself, so you're going to want to make sure that you tack it down with something to keep it in place. So I'm going to put a big, pretty good sized bead of CA glue right there, and we're going to use our zip kicker here to tack it down, and you don't need much. Okay, and we're going to do a little more up on the sides here, kind of keep it in place. Alright, put my lid back on. Alright, and now with this one, one of the reasons why I put it at the end, CA glue at the end to hold, is because I keep it to where those wires will stay separated. So if you have to, you know, when you bend them, it's not gonna hurt them. It's not gonna cause them to cross or anything. So we're gonna turn these, and again, as Boyd said, you don't want to put too much tension on these wires, because it can, if anything happens, there's a little bit of play in there. Okay, got that one. Now, this spot right here is for the polar lights kit, so there's nothing going to be going in right here, so you have plenty enough room to run your wires here. So I'm going to keep those nice and neat and down off the glass, and we're just going to run another little bead of CA glue right there. Alright, now we got that one, got that set run. I'm going to run another set right here. Alright. And again, guys, you want to make sure that this stays fairly neat. Uh-oh, it didn't take, so hold on a second. Yeah, it didn't take, so I'll have to add just a little bit more. Alright. Now, I'm not going to put any more out here because we're going to have to rerun the wiring. Clean out my CA glue tip here. Sometimes that stuff gets gunky, clogs up the tip. Okay. Alright, so on to the next one. And again, we're going to be placing this one right here to light these windows. Sorry about the noise, guys. Living in Texas, it's like 70 degrees during the day and 30 or 40 degrees at night here during the fall and winter time. So during the day the shop gets kind of toasty, and then at night it gets cold. So heat during the night, cold during the day. Gotta love Texas. Alright. Okay, there we go. So now we got that down, and then we're gonna, again, we're not gonna put anything back here yet until we get our other LEDs run. But I am gonna tack it down here at the front, and then one on each side right here in the middle, and maybe one each side right here on the back. That way we don't have any issues. Just use a little bit of our kicker here to a little bit of air here to dry that down. Okay, so you can see right there we have our interior lighting. You don't need any more for the front half of this because you're only lighting this group of windows here, and what this does is this bounces across and hits the other side, and the other side hits these lights here. So we're good to go here. So now one thing I am going to do is one thing I did do on the other side is for this ion pod here in the back, since it doesn't go all the way through, I'm just going to take a little bit of tape here. That might be the... And I'm just going to put it right there across that hole, so when we put our SMD right down in there, it won't cause any problems. So, all right. Now, what we're going to do is for the ion pod, we'll have to run some extra wire, but I'll do that off camera to where I'm not boring y'all. Okay, we got that set down in there. Use a little bit of our CA glue, zip kicker there to hold it in place. Okay, so we got that set in place. Like I said, now I'm not going to tie that into anything yet. So, all right. Now I'm going to move on to the secondary, the rear here, to where we can for that light that goes there in the back. So I'm just going to put a little bit of CA glue right there. I'm going to get it in place and make sure, guys, that it stays straight facing back. Okay, now that's in place. We'll run this back. Now if you notice, right in here on either side of the secondary hole, there's a little gap right here, a little kind of a notch. That's for a 3mm LED that sits on the lower side of the shuttle bay floor. So don't have to worry too much about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of run it across, leaving just a little bit of slack in it, and I'll get that down there on the use our CA glue. Again, guys, pretty much most of this you've seen. Boyd's done it, but you know, this is how Boyd pretty much did his. I'm going to run this across the back here so we don't get confused. So again, you know, like I said, this is something that Boyd did on his last video series, and I like how he did it, so I try to do it, you know, make it as close to his as possible. Again, there's different methods of doing this. You can, you know, if you don't feel comfortable enough using all this stuff, you can go by the, you know, the instructions, or if you're doing the polar lights kit, you know, there's different ways of doing things, guys. There's a ton of different videos out here that you know, you can reference to do these. You know, what you need to do is you need to find a way that you like, that suits you the best, that makes it easier for you, and just stick with it, guys. I mean, there's no really right or wrong way to do these things. You know, there's many different options on how to do this. Okay, now we got that one, which will be our light for, oops, sorry guys, which will be, we've got our lighting in here for that SMD that's right there. Let me back out again. I'm sorry guys, I didn't realize I was that close in. But right there we go, right there you can see I have a SMD mounted right there again for the lighting that comes through on this side. Now again, we're going to be doing the same. We're going to be using some LEDs and stuff on top of on the shuttle bay as well, to kind of help you know, to help with the viewing of the shuttle bay and all that kind of stuff. So okay, so now we have we have that done, and that didn't take too long, guys. Stuff like this, it takes, you know, it goes by pretty quick. Alright, let's get all this untangled. So okay, so this is there. So what we need to do is take our two positive leads here. What I do is I twist them together. Okay, and I'm gonna see if we can get this on camera here without hurting anything. And we're gonna, I think I can cut just a little more off. Well, I think I might have cut a little too much off. Okay. And get our soldering iron. Well, it came apart on me, guys. Gonna have to get my helping hands here and pre-solder these together, and then go through and sometimes that stuff happens, guys. You get, you know, if that happens, don't panic. It doesn't work out the way it, you know, you want it to. You'll be okay. It's just a model. Alright, now that that's done, this will be a little bit easier to do. So I'm going to mount it again. I'm going to mount this to this one, to this one right here, this terminal up here. Try not to touch anything here, the soldering iron. Okay, so we got that done. And then now we'll do the negative side. And with these guys, that little black, the coating on these little SMDs, you have to pretty much, when you strip them, best way I found it is just to kind of give them a little bit of a light here to melt that plastic off, that coating. Then you open it up for some more wire there, so it helps. about to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so now we have that. We have all that done now. Now we'll go back through and kind of clean up our mess here. Let me get that one out of the way. Use our CA glue to tack it down right there. And again right here. Sorry if I get quiet, guys, I'm just concentrating. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit up here to keep it from moving up here or getting caught on some other wire. And again, guys, it doesn't have to be immaculate. It's going to be the inside of a ship. I just try to keep all of them, all the wiring from going across a window. Sometimes I don't want to cooperate very well, especially these little bitty wires. Sorry guys, I'm going to have to kind of do this. Being left-handed kind of makes it hard to I want to make sure that these get stuck down and with no problems. Alright, put a little bit more right down here on this side to hold that one down in place. Okay guys, well that's pretty much it for you know, wiring the, I'm going to twist all these out here on the front together. The power wires. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the, you know, the interior lighting. Now we just have to go through and extend our wiring here for the ion pod. What I'm going to do is use a little bit of this tulip to light block that ion pod, so we don't have flashing on the inside of the ship. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off camera and get the wiring ready for this side. Now we're not going to have as much wiring over here. We're only going to need 2 sets of wires here, because the board that goes on the other pylon, when you bring it down, it will be run both sets. So we'll be right back guys here in just a second, so stay tuned. Okay guys, welcome back. Alright, so let me zoom out pretty much now. So what I did is I went on ahead off camera. I got my wire ready to run through the pylon. I went on ahead and extended my wiring for my ion pod, so that way we can match them up at the front. Now, upon further inspection of the lighting kit and instructions, we're only going to need one set of wire coming out of power wire coming out of each nacelle, because the Bussard fan motors are powered by the Bussard light kit. The Bussard lighting, the lights that go spin. So, uh-oh, got it caught. So, what we're gonna do is just gonna run this, and I always crimp after I twist my ends. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it very well or not, but I always kind of loop it over to where it doesn't get hung up. So we're going out of this little hole down here at the bottom. You can go out of here, but it makes it a little more difficult. So we're gonna just try to slide that up in there nice and neat. Like I said, sometimes it's gonna get caught. You just have to work it all the way up. It looks like it's going pretty easily now. There we are. Now it's out the front, and I'm going to leave about that much slack and run the rest of it out the front. And what I'm going to do now is I've already pre-written down on what this is. So this is your Bussard motor, or your Bussard light board here on this, and I'll get those instructions here. Let me set this out of the way, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you can see right here, these two are joined by power. This one has the more wiring on it, because you have these two going to the gray, going to, you have, you know, yellow going to one and then jumps over to the other, which is your power, or your black, your negative side, your yellow being your positive. So what you want to do is make sure that you have your, when you're doing this, guys, look at the kit. Best way to think about it is when you're looking at the paper, that's the way the board's set. So if you're looking from the front of the saucer, looking straight back at the Bussard collectors, this is the way it is. This is your starboard and this is your port. Your starboard one is the one that's got all the wiring to it, so you only really need one set coming off, you know, power from each side. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to take some of that other wiring out, because I thought we were going to be needing it to run the fan motors, but since this has got a momentary switch to control the light, you know, the speed of the motor, we're not going to need that extra power cord, so that'll make things a little bit easier. So but when we get ready to hook all that up, we'll have to, you know, leave a little bit of wiring hanging out to where we can get it going. So but that's the way it is. So now we got our light cord, you know, our light. I'm going to label this at the front so I know what it is. Okay. And guys, this is pretty much it for now on this. We'll get this all tacked down and kind of twist these together here so they don't, we can kind of keep everything nice and neat. That's one of the things you want to do, is kind of keep things nice and neat. Okay, so that's there. So now I'm gonna pull a little bit more out, so I make sure I have enough. Might pull a little bit more out. There we go. That'll work. And I'm just gonna you know, work on, you know, more CA glue. And this thing is not wanting to stay put, I'll tell you that. Not wanting to behave. Okay, so I'm gonna Get these set down. Okay. Again, leaving just a little bit of slack there in case something happens. Gonna tack it down here. Alright. And one more time at the front here. With all these little guys. I still got to go back through and label that other set of wires for the ion pods, that way we don't forget what's what. Alright guys, well that's it. There's that. And now we have our, this is our ion pod, so let me so this is our main power. And two guys, this is, if you know, if for some reason or another that you start losing track of where you're at, I always keep a 9-volt battery handy with me here. That way I can test things to make sure that everything's wired properly without having to hook everything up. So positive to positive, negative to negative, and yep, we have power. So that's the one we're looking for. So I'm going to twist these together. Alright. Clean that off. And we're going to label this one ion pod. It's always a good thing to, when you're wiring a certain circuit in, guys, make sure that you always label as soon as you get through, because I've done things before when I first started doing this where I've run all the wiring and I'll lose track of what's what. So again, guys, you know, take your time on these kits. There's no rush on them. You know, the more time you take, the better it's going to look. You want to make sure that you have all your joints cleaned. I went through, I need to go back through and clean this off just a little bit more, but all my joints are clean. That way the glue will hold and we won't have any problems with it. So, but we got all the wiring done there, you can see, and it's very, very short and simple. It didn't take me very long. It took me about an hour on the other one to get everything wired in and where it's supposed to be. And what I'm going to do off camera here is now I'm going to go back through and put some CA glue right up here where these other main power lights go into. So we're going to let all this set up and let that dry, and then I'm working on the shuttle bay, getting it painted right now, you know, in the process of getting it painted. So the next step for that is to getting in a shuttle bay put in, and then we can close it up. So we'll be back for part 4. To show you the everything. We'll have the hull closed up, and we'll go through and show you how to do the putty work on there. So until then, guys, I'm gonna be it'll probably a couple of weeks before I get to do another video, guys. I've got to get a couple of ships finished, like I said earlier. And I'm gonna be meeting the client in Mobile to deliver his, and then another client that lives in Florida. So Until then, guys, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. You know, pretty much maybe after, it'll be after Thanksgiving and probably into the first week of December that we'll be back on this. I'll have by then, I'll have the shuttle bay in, and I'll have the secondary hull closed up and everything. That way we can go through and start doing our party work. So until then, guys, take care, stay safe. We'll see you down the road. Bye, everybody. Happy modeling.